Hey guys, Curtis with ThatTurboDakota. Welcome back. So as you can tell, we are in the garage today. It's cold. If you see there over my shoulder, I do have my heater running off and on. It's propane, so I don't like to run it for long periods of time. It kind of makes it fumy in here. But today, we're going to talk about the current progress I've made on the truck. I have an order from ProWire. I want to look at the mil spec bulkhead connectors, which they'll go in the firewall of the truck. They're kind of nice. So we'll unpackage that stuff, take a look at that. If you've never seen that stuff before, I think you're in for a treat. It really cleans up the engine bay. It does require some special tooling, so I'll pull that stuff out. We'll look at that too. We'll talk about where I got it, where you can get it, maybe what the right choice for you is, budget-wise. So give me a second. We'll flip the camera around. We'll start going through some stuff. Okay, so last time we talked, on the floor here is the factory wire harness, the AEM V1 with the jumper harness that I had to make. What I have done, we'll go here and we'll look inside the cab. As of right now, all the wiring, the gauges, everything has been removed. I even removed the gauge cluster. We have to make room for that new 12.3 digital dash. I sat it in there, as you can tell. Let me turn the light on for you. Give me 1 second. There you go. It's going to fit really good. I do want to take it and bring it forward. You can kind of see the gaps around it. Right now, it's just laying in there, but it fits. I mean, I pulled the factory cluster out, and the thing just fits right in, in where it's supposed to go. So I do imagine it's going to need very little modifying of the bezel. Maybe some of the back of the dash, but probably not. And I'm already excited about that. So that's kind of cool to see it sitting in there like that. Like I said, so A-pillar gauges gone. You can see I had a trans temp and a shift light because of the manual valve body. That stuff's gone. All the wiring's pulled. We'll walk around here to the engine bay. So in the engine bay, just like last week, we talked about this stuff. The PCM is gone. The factory wire harness is gone. I do have to remove the wideband. That wideband has to come out. That goes with the gauges. The fuel pressure regulator right there, that pressure transducer, that goes with the gauges. I pulled the factory distributor out last week. It made it really easy. Really easy. It made it easier to get the factory wiring harness out, so I really didn't have to fight it. So that was a good thing. I'm basically to the point now where I'll pull out all the stock sensors and we'll start putting the new stock sensors into place. I do need to find a spot for the Dominator. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put that thing yet. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but it's big. It's definitely big. That's my hand next to it, so you can, just for reference, see how long it is. I want to put it in a spot that if something happens and I need to get to it, it's going to be easily accessible. So what I was thinking was, walk back around here to the cab. It is a single cab truck. I might put it behind the seat. I do want to swap these factory seats out. I thought about making a panel, some kind of panel, or maybe even on the floor, and putting it on the floor of the panel, and then we'll run the wire harness up through the center of the truck, and then I'll show you this. We're going to look at the mil-spec connectors too, and I got to figure out where I'm going to put them. I actually might have to pull the dash out, and it might make my life easier. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull the dash out. So that's what it is so far. I want to have the Dominator, any relays, because I'll need, let's see, I've got radiator fan, trans fan, the trans brake requires a relay. I want to kind of keep all that stuff in the same spot. I even thought about, which I still might do, because this factory fuse box is still here and it does have factory relays and fuses in it, I might use that too, and then I don't have to put relays in different spots, but we'll kind of figure it out as we go. I had thrown around the idea of pulling the ABS out. This truck had a factory, they call it four-wheel ABS. There's two versions. You'll see it referred to as R-wall, and then And that's the simple version. This one's got the little bit more advanced version, but at this point in time, it's useless to me. It's just really taking up space. That pump's pretty big. The pump's pretty big, so I could really get rid of that pump, redo some of the lines on the master. I think I'm going to do that. I'll do that too. It just makes sense. That's going to free up a lot of room. It's kind of cluttered. It is, but it isn't. You know, the wiring harness, you know, it's going to start out somewhere here in the back with those connectors. I got to figure out where I'm with the bulkheads, and then it'll just come up into the motor. So that's not a big deal. That's really going to simplify it. I won't have that big bulky harness running up across here. Some of this stuff might live its life. Factory, I got to pull a wiring diagram and see what some of this stuff is. I actually might be able to pull some of the wires out of that and condense it down as well. So that's where we're at. Right here in this box. This is a company, they're called ProWire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off just for a second. I'm going to pull some of this stuff out. I'm going to let you guys look at the military bulkhead connectors. That's the, you know, again, I keep talking about that. I'm excited because I know how much it's going to clean the engine bay up in this truck. And then if something ever happens, I have to pull the motor out. These things just basically push. They push in, you turn them about a quarter turn, and they lock. So, you know, just for ease, you know, I could, you know, if I got to pull the motor out or whatever, work on it, whatever, I just unlock the thing, drape it up on the motor, and then that's one less thing I got to mess with. And I don't have to go through and pull a bunch of connectors off and mess around with the thing. So give me a second. Let me pull that stuff out, and then we'll talk about what's inside. Hold on. These are military-style bulkhead connectors. There's two halves to these. We'll get a little bit closer for you. Pull the caps off. I should have done that. I don't have the camera in my hand. So this half right here, this will be the engine half. Now you see the threads on it. There you go. See the threads. What those threads are for is they have a thing called a back cap, and this is aluminum, and this thing threads onto there, and you can see the knurling. So what you would do is once you build your harness, and then you push your little pins in these little holes, and they all snap in, and there's actually a special tool for that. The little pin lays in this little tool right here, and this is, you can use this to install or remove. You screw this back cap on, and then this is heat shrink, and then that heat shrink grabs onto that back cap, and what that does is it makes it like a liquid tight connection. So let me reposition the camera. Give me 1 second. There we go. That's better. So you got two sides to these connectors. Like I said, this is the engine bay side right here, and this will go in the engine bay. The wires come in through the back shell threads onto here. They make these things populated with different amounts of pins and different sizes of pins. They call them contacts is how they have them listed. Now that size, there's two factors to that. One is how many amps you need to send through it, so that's a factor. And the other factor is just sheer wire gauge size. Now, this side of it right here is the flange side. So this will go into the firewall. It's also threaded right here. So again, there's two back caps in this bag. Hopefully the glare's not too bad. So this will be in the firewall, and this will be the inside. And basically, they've got tabs on them. It's going to take me a second how this goes. But you put them in there, and it only fits one way, which makes this really nice. And there it goes. It drops. And what you do is you turn this ring right here, and that's it. That's all it is. So that alone, it just, like I said, it's going to take extra work. It does, these things, they make different sizes and pin counts. ProWire has this stuff on their website. I can't remember exactly how much it was. Like I said, it's all on there. You order these things depending on what you need. So what you really have to do is sit down and figure out how many wires you have, what size the wires, and you kind of go from there. For me, because in the future I might decide to go Hemi with coil packs, that's kind of what I base this off of. So I have this one right here, and this will do some of these bigger contacts in there. You can see in these little containers right here, if you can see that. I know the glare's bad, I'm sorry. Those are the little pins. There you go, and there's 2 different sizes. And that all correlates with these connectors. You've got a male side and a female side, and they're specific. And then you got the bigger pins right here, if you can see those, and it's the heart with the sticker. There you go. Right there. But it's cool. Like it bolts. Like I said, the flange side is your firewall. This is your mirror side. It takes one little turn. I can do it. There you go. And then it'll pull off, and then you get it back on. Put the thing on like that, line it up, turn it, and that's it. So you can imagine, you know, if you got to work on the truck or pull the motor out of it or whatever, truck, car, whatever you're doing, this will save you a ton of time in the long run. So this is my first time messing with these. I have not, you know, done anything like this before. I've wired, obviously, but I have not used these, and I'm excited. I'm ready to do it. Like I said, 2 different sizes. There's one of them right there. I'll put the cap back on real quick, just to keep any trash out of it. And you'll see these things, like they call them mil specs. I've seen stuff along this nature on heavy equipment as well. And the biggest reason is you it keeps all the moisture and stuff out. Like the way they're set up, you can use shrink wrap, you know, shrink tube, and you shrink wrap the whole harness, and it just keeps all the moisture and dirt and dust and debris out. Here's the other side. I'm not going to pull the whole thing apart. They come with what they call different shell sizes. If you notice, the one I just put back in the bag was a little bit bigger than this one. I think this one is A18. So an 18, and then it's a 32 pin. Now in this particular one right here, all the pins are the same size. Sorry guys if I'm not in frame. All the pins are the same size, but same concept. It's got threads on this side for your back cap. This will be the engine harness side. The other side in this bag over here that you guys can't see right there, that's the flange side. So pretty slick. I'm excited. So a few things to note. About these mil-spec bulkhead connectors. Let's go in the back of the truck real quick. So I've got all my tooling right here. So let's see, what do I want? We're gonna talk about the wire strippers. Got some different kind of crimpers. I really don't use those. Are kind of worn out, and those are those automatic strippers. So let's take all this stuff for a second. Ugh. Walk over here. Put this down. Okay, so different crimps require different tooling. If you've never done this before, if you have a pair of those, they make a pair that you can buy like AutoZone Advanced Auto. They're really thin and flat. They do crimping and stripping. If you have those, do me a favor, throw them in the trash. Get yourself a good pair of crimpers right there. If it'll zoom in, or it'll focus. These are Matco. Matco makes a pair. Pretty much everybody makes a pair. You can even go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get Klein brand. This is the kind of stuff you should be using. Don't use them junky old things, you know, they sell in the kit with all the little barrels that are insulated. Just don't. Do yourself a favor, don't. These right here, these are made by MSD. They're going to be able to do some of the stuff like this, some of the different connectors. Not all connectors require the same crimpers, so please be mindful of that. That's another. Actually, you can see that's Blue Point. They do another style crimp connection. Wire strippers. Invest in a really good pair of wire strippers. These came from Home Depot. They're made by Klein. They're called Catapults. I really, really like them. They're really, really nice. They'll do a bunch of different sizes, 10 gauge all the way up to about 20 gauge. If you can see the etching on the blade. There you go. So like I said, wire strippers, very important. So in this box, or in this case, whoops, if I can open the case, this is the tool that I use to crimp these little pins. Turn this light back off. I feel like the glare is killing us. There we go. This is a tool made by a company called DMC. You'll see it come up as like DMC Daniel. This one actually came off of eBay. You see this a lot, like I said, military applications, aviation applications. What this is, there's two pieces of this tool. And one, the first they call the frame, which is right here I got my hands on. And then they have a thing called a turret, which is this. So this piece actually comes off from the tool. Now, as you can tell, they make different turrets. This depends on what kind of pin you're crimping. So you need to make sure if you get into this that you have the right turret with the right frame. This setup isn't for everyone. Like I said, I got this one used. I got it for about $200 on eBay. If you watch, you will come across these things on eBay. There are other options. This is not the only option. I like this one because after kind of reviewing the other ones, it's accurate. Like I said, they use these things in aviation. Most likely, when I bought off eBay, it probably came from somebody that used to do that kind of stuff. But for what I'm doing, it'll be fine. For what they're doing, it was probably time for them to re-up or send it out to get calibrated, or who knows what the story was. Because these things do for aviation, I do believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you do send them back to the company and have them calibrated and checked. Like I said, there's three. As far as the turret goes and the pin goes, like I said, there's different size pins for different amperage and wire loads. And this turret right here has three little colors, and that's what that's for. There's three different pin sizes on there. And then this right here is actually what I turn for the wire gauge, so it makes the crimp correctly. Now this thing right here, it'll do these military bulkhead connectors and any Deutsch style connector. They call them a solid contact. There's two different kind of contacts. There's a solid, and then one that kind of looks like it's an open contact, which you cannot use with this. This tooling right here is only for a solid contact. These are really high quality connectors. I really like them. If you have the right tooling, it's really simple to use. Most of the time you get them, they're all weatherproof. So as you can tell, I'm going to use them all over the place. There's other options besides this, not just this. If you bought this stuff new, this is a couple $100. It's going to blow your mind when you look it up how much this thing is. Get on Amazon. They do make a kit that has 3 separate crimpers, one for each contact. It's a red kit, has 3 separate crimpers. It also comes with some of these removal tools. I can't remember what else, but it's like $200 as well. I just because I had some of this stuff, I didn't need that whole kit. Like I was watching these things on eBay, ended up purchasing it. I have used it before, kind of experimenting on I used it on my mower. I did a Deutsch style connector on my mower because it sits outside all the time, and like I said, they are waterproof and weatherproof. So like I said, that's something to check out. That goes with this. The Deutsch style connectors. Again, these different turrets are for different things. To be honest with you, I bought it like this. I'll probably only use I think it's a THA1 or something. I don't even know what's printed on here, but that's pretty much what and don't quote me on that, but if you start looking into this stuff, you're gonna see it. So that's that. There are more videos on YouTube that people have done this way more than I have. I know that's just kind of a quick rundown, but I really just want to show you what I've got going on, or what my game plan is. The one thing we haven't looked at yet is the wiring harness. So like I said, I'm building my wiring harness. So what I did is I went from Holly and I got what they call their flying lead harness, which is right there in that box. It's about, it's probably all, 14 feet long, and it just doesn't have any connectors on it. So that's what we'll do is we'll mount that Dominator somewhere back here, run that wiring through the front of that bad boy, start laying everything out, figure out where I'm putting my connectors, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, so that's where we stand. Thanks for tuning in. I know this stuff's kind of boring, depending on who you are. To me, it's not boring because obviously I'm busy doing it. To a lot of other people, they don't want to see this mess. But I do promise once I get this thing running again, we got a lot of other stuff coming up. Okay, so I just got back inside the house. Phone definitely died, so that's why the audio cut out. But like I said, what I was saying was probably not going to see anything next week. We're going on vacation. We'll be down in Florida. We may get a streetcar takeover in Bradenton, depending on what we got going and how much time. So stay tuned. I got lots of stuff coming up. I appreciate you watching. See ya.